Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've already been here doing my videos. My name's Anna, and today we're doing another beginner's class. So we are up to, I believe, class 7 in our course. And today we are going to look at standing postures. So we've touched on standing postures a few weeks ago, but now we're going to really concentrate mostly today on going into more detail with some of the standing postures. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please just take a moment now to click the subscribe button. It really helps me out if you do that. And let's begin. So I didn't bring any of my props up here because it's a bit of a hike to get up here. But if you've got your blocks, strap, things like that, excuse me, that you might want to assist you, then I'll give you suggestions on when to use those. So go ahead and grab them if you have them. Coming to a comfortable seat on your mat, and we'll get straight into it by closing the eyes and straight away bringing your attention here, right now. Sometimes, especially when you're practicing at home, there's a lot of distractions. Some of them you can't avoid. Someone comes to the door, things like that. But there are some that you can resist. You might hear the washing machine load finish. Your phone might ring. Lots of things can be pulling your attention. See if you can allow those things to happen around you. Without being drawn away. And if there's something you can't avoid during your practice and you have to get up and go and attend to it, then just use that as an exercise as well, rather than feeling frustrated or annoyed, which you might still feel, but see if you can just go about that task as well in a mindful way, and then come back to your practice. As we start to extend our practice off the mat, it's all the same. The formal practice just allows us to concentrate some of these ideas and practice them to take back into daily life. Starting to deepen and broaden that breath. In and out through the nostrils if you can. Feel the chest and the belly fill and fall on the exhale. See if you can think about the breath originating or beginning from the diaphragm, so beginning at the ribs. That way, that visualization can help to expand the chest and the abdomen as one. You might like to place a hand on the chest and one on the tummy. Inhale. Exhale fully. Notice how much more of the lungs you can use here. Now think about breathing into the side and the back of the ribs as well. We're going to take 3 rounds of a slow breath count, a box breath. So stay with me, but if you need to alter the count, then go ahead and alter it. We're going to begin with a 3 count breath. Inhaling now, 1, 2, 3, pause. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, pause. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, pause. We'll extend to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. And return to your natural breath. Take the hands down to the lap. Notice the calming effect of that breath. It's a beautiful way to not only arrive in the space quickly, but a beautiful tool to calm yourself, bring yourself back to that nice parasympathetic nervous system state, where that's that rest and digest system, that calming nervous system. So a tool that you can use at any time, especially if you're starting to feel a little bit worked up throughout the day. Slow down, deepen the breath. Do a little breath count, or even just focus on slowing and deepening that breath. All right, let's jump into our movement. So coming to stand on your mat. Comfortable width with the feet. And we're going to start just with some gentle twists. So taking the hands to one side and the other. See if you can think about the movement here coming from the hips and the torso, and the arms are just kind of coming along for the ride. Keep the breath going here. You might like to start to build a little bit of energy through this movement, make it a little more energetic, dynamic. Really swing the arms, bending through the knees a little in the center, and turning on that back foot. As often as soon as we start to add movement, breath, we forget about it completely, or we hold the breath, or the breath becomes very shallow and sharp again. So nice, deep inhales, exhales through the nose, like a thread that binds our whole practice together. And you will forget about it again, and I'll remind you again. So don't worry. Okay, a few more of these. And back through center. Okay, this time arms are going to come up overhead, come up slightly onto tiptoes, the balls of the feet, and exhale, arms come down. And again, you can start slowly while you get a feel for the movement. So nice, bend through the knees. So instead of, we're not just hinging at the hips, we're squatting and bending. And then as you get the feel for it, you can make it a little bit more dynamic. At the top, think about reaching back, so we're almost getting a little arch, a little back bend. A little more. Don't worry if the balance is a little wobbly at the top, that's great. Adding a little bit of balance work in straight away. Getting the breath going, like combining that breath and movement. 2 more. Lovely. Feel the heart rate up a little. Turn the breath back. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of movement through some of the joints. So let's just take a few wrist circles. And shake it down. Yours won't be clicking and popping like mine. Especially in the mornings they do that. Shake. It's a beautiful day here. I think it's going to be hot. Hasn't been that hot yet here, but feels like one of those days for me. Lovely. Okay. Coming to a little squat, taking one foot out in front, finding a little balance here. So pressing that grounded standing leg down into the floor, and then we'll flex the foot up towards us and point. Flex and point. So you can use the ground here to help you with the balance like I am. So you tap and tap the heel, tap the toe, tap the heel. Or if the balance feels okay, you can keep the foot off the whole time. Okay, pause. And now we're just going to move the toes. So scrunch the toes and flex them. Yeah, so this one can feel a little bit crampy through the foot. Keep the breath going. Lovely. And bring it down. Other side. Pointing and flexing. Tap the mat or keep the foot suspended in the air. Lovely. And now just the toes. Scrunch them up and open them wide, stretch them back towards you. Feel that standing leg working hard for you. Whoop, see, it's tempting just to go back to the whole foot point and flex. So, a couple more of those. And down. Lovely. Little side to side. Okay, let's get into some of our sun salutations, coming to stand at the top of your mat. Let's inhale, bend through the knees in chair pose, arms extending overhead. Exhale, hands come down. See if you can take a little straighten through the legs, hands to the blocks or shins, and we take that halfway lift. Really long through the spine. Pressing firmly down with the big toes into the floor. Lovely. Hands come down, floor or to our blocks, and we step back to our plank position. Hold here on the toes if you can. Now, drop the knees, rock the weight forward, strong through the upper body, so press the ground away. We don't want those shoulder blades coming together. Press away and lowering down, elbows by the side, and press all the way back up. Rock back, the gaze stays forward, and then we sweep through, again strong through the upper body, and take our cobra. Tops of the feet press into the floor, legs are active, elbows by the side. Now we press all the way back to our all fours position, tuck the toes, strong hands, and press the knees up off the mat and the hips rock back to our downward dog. Let's walk the legs out a little bit here.
Perhaps taking the heel side to side for some little twists. Lovely. Remember, you can take that bend in the knees. And breathe here. Okay, gaze is forward. I've got fly friends on me, and we walk, forward, forward, forward. See how far you can get before taking the hands away. Beautiful. Halfway lift, and fold forward. Bend through the knees, back through chair pose. Yep, keep the torso nice and upright if you can. We don't want to be here, and we want a nice bend through the knees. Beautiful. Coming up. Let's go again. Inhale. Chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, hands plant. Step the feet back. Hold in our plank. Really rounding through the shoulder blades. Now you can take from the toes if you're working from the toes, or stay with me and we drop to the knees, but we stay strong. No collapsing through the upper body, and no collapsing at any stage on the lower down. So here we go. Rock some weight forward, grip with the fingertips. Nice and controlled, all the way down. Touch the nose and the chest to the floor, but we're still active. Press it back up. Well done. Rock back. And we sweep through. Cobra. Or if you're working your upward facing now, feel free to press up to upward facing. Then we'll all rock back to all fours, and again setting up to press back to down dog. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, core is strong, and we press back and take a little bit of movement again. Working on that hamstring lengthening. But also remember, we don't have to get the heels down to the floor at all costs. And it's tempting, especially if you're going to a class and you're trying really hard to look like the teacher or the people around you. Just remember that you're on your own path. And you won't get there faster by straining and pushing and using the incorrect form. Okay, from here we're going to move straight into some standing postures. So, we'll start with the right leg. So the left leg moves a little more to the center, and the right leg lifts up. See if you can extend it behind. So press the heel away towards the back of the room and avoid opening the hip for now. So that might mean the leg doesn't come very high. That's fine. Okay, now we're going to bend the knee, and you might find a little bit of opening through the hip. And just watch when we do that. There's a tendency then to collapse through the left shoulder there and just rely on the right. So just pressing into the mat with both hands firmly. And now we're going to step this foot through. So we've done this before, but it can take a little bit to get it there. So you can just step it there, step, step, step. You might, for the last bit, need to lift your right hand and help the foot to get through to get to the middle of the mat between the hands. what I would like you to avoid is using a lot of momentum. Yep, to swing the leg through, or lifting this hand up, so to make room. Then we avoid using our core strength to bring the foot forward, and that's what we want to work on. So I don't mind if you can only get to here by using the proper activation of the core. You will build the strength by doing that rather than using any of those other methods that I just said. So coming back to here, and we pull up the knee towards the chest, towards the tummy, and then we step forward. Yep, then we try again, press the hands, step, step, and then if we need help, we can use that hand to bring the foot through at the last, for the last bit where you just can't go any further. Okay, coming up now, pressing all the way up into our crescent lunge. Let's open the arms out into a cactus shape. Press the big toe of the right foot firmly down into the mat. The stance here can be a little wider if you need, so you can play around with that. Just see what's comfortable for you. And then strong through the legs. So you can just kind of hang out, and you'll notice then that the balance of the foundation doesn't feel as strong. But if you actively press that toe down into the mat and extend through the back leg, so actively pressing that left heel away, you'll feel your foundations are a lot stronger here. Let's extend the arms up overhead. We're going to make our way into warrior two. So we plant the back heel. We can widen the stance a little and deepen the lunge. Arms come out. One arm extending forward, the other back, and a few things to check for here. So again, let's activate our base. Right toe presses down, back leg extends. It's easy to let the quads switch off in this pose. So really activate through the front of the leg by imagining that you're pulling up through the kneecap. And then we'll add the arms in again. Arms are active, so they also can just hang out here. But I want you to extend the arms and keep them switched on. Then we check here that we're not leaning forward or back. You want to be stacked over the center. And then checking that the arms aren't out to the sides. So you could take a look back over the hand. And whilst our arms are active, our shoulders aren't hunched. We want to drop the scaps down and hold. And then you might find a little more depth. I know we've been here a while. 2 more breaths. Okay, we're going to come out. So rotating back into our crescent lunge, arms come up. We're going to bring our hands down to the floor and frame the foot. Okay. Going to make our way back to our downward dog. So same way we came in, we're coming out that way. So none of this hand lifting. What I want you to do, so if you cannot get the foot back from here without swinging, then you will do the same thing where you'll help that foot back a little bit to where you can lift it. Then you'll press into the ground as hard as you can and see if you can step that foot back. Start to lift the knee into the chest, and then we come back. and set it down. Lovely. Drop to the knees. Drop back into a child's pose. Take a rest before we do the other side. It's a lot of focused work that we're doing here. We're looking at a lot of cues. I'm asking you to do a lot of things in each pose, and this will become second nature, so you won't have to think about every little component the whole time. But I really want you to grasp these details. So then when you do go to a class, or you're doing another practice where there's not as much cueing necessarily, or in a class the teacher won't have the time to come and check everything for each student, that you can do these little self-checks on yourself and you know the details so that you're practicing safely and with integrity. Okay, coming back up onto all fours, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then we come back to our downward facing, preparing for the next side. So let's lift the left leg this time, and we press the heel away, keeping the hips square to the mat, strong through the upper body. Let's bend the knee, and now you might find a little opening through the hip, and keeping in mind that we're not dropping through the right shoulder this time. Nice and strong through both hands and shoulders. Okay, we are preparing to step forward. So, same thing. Knee into the chest as much as you can. See how far you can come forward with control, no swinging. And see where you can step to. Then you keep trying without the hand for now. Or if you're at your limit, now you can use the hand, but we try to use the core and the strength of the upper body. Yep, maybe you can get one more. That might be your limit. Then you'll take the left hand and you help it through to the middle. Okay, again, so you might want to have another go. Let's all have another go. What we don't want, I'll remind us, is the swinging to get through, then we're just using momentum, or the moving of the hand out of the way, or the lifting of the hand so we can get the foot around and in. Then we're not activating through the core. So we come forward and we step, we step, we step, step, we step. Then we can help. Beautiful, well done. Coming up, Crescent Lunge. Open the arms out to a T shape. Checking your stance, making any adjustments there, and then we ground our base. Left big toe pressing down, right heel pressing away, and the right toe pressing down. Strong, active through the legs. Nice. Feel how much stronger that is. Just switch everything off again. Yeah, we're just hanging out. You can still stand here in this pose, but you'll feel a lot less stable. And then when we start adding more things in with the arms, or we're moving in and out of flows, then it can feel really wobbly. So now activate again. Left big toe pressing down, activate all the way up through the leg. Right heel, press away, big toe pressing down. Feel how much better that it feels. Okay, legs are starting to wobble already, the muscles I mean, and let's move on. Okay, plant the back heel. The toes are still facing slightly forwards. And we open out through the arms. So you might need to adjust this stance a little bit, make it a little longer. And then we lunge. Lovely. Let's recheck all our cues here, starting with the foundations. Left big toe presses down, active through the whole left leg. Right heel pressing away, active through the quad, so the front of the leg turns on the whole time. Back toe pressing into the ground as well. Okay, let's add the arms. Active through the arms, we're not just hanging out here. Really reaching. Then we check that back hand is directly coming away. And then just checking in with the torso, that we're not here or here, we're stacked over the middle. Now add a little more depth. Well done. 3 more breaths here. Gaze directly out over the middle finger of the front hand. Well done. Coming up. Step in a little, rotate forward, back to our crescent lunge. Hands come down, frame the foot, and we're coming out the same way. So if you can, then you'll go straight from here, press the ground away and lift. If not, then you'll help the front foot back a little bit, and then you'll try from here. Or you'll take those little steps, okay? And drop down. So that stepping forward and back can be really challenging, especially if you're in a flow type class where there's lots of stepping forward and back and it's moving quite quickly and you don't feel like you have the time to do it properly, so you revert back to the swinging and that kind of thing. If that's the case in a class, or you can use this as a drill. I don't have my blocks, but I'll just tell you, and if you have blocks you can give this a go, or you can use some books. What you can do is practice this by raising the ground a little bit so that you do have some more space to move the foot forward and back. So you would raise the hands up, and this would be similar to here, so I'll give myself a bit more height with the fingertips. You would step forward and then you've got more space here to get forward. I would prefer you to do this than to swing or come round the outside. Yep, so we're not using the core. This is just a nice modification to raise up the hands. Then you can still practice that proper use of the core without swinging. So yes, especially in a class, have some blocks there. Every time there is a step forward, you can place your hands up on the blocks and you can do it like that. You can move them out of the way, pop them back when you're coming back out of it. Okay, so that is what I would suggest for the step forward and back. You'll start to build that core strength and upper body strength. Whereas if you're always compensating with those other movements, you won't, and you can also end up with injuries as well. So that's that. Okay, so a little bit more of a tutorial type class today, but I really wanted to hone in on some of the details of the standing poses. And then next class, we're going to weave that into a little bit more of a flow to start to build on those concepts in a less broken down way, I suppose. So that's where we'll leave it today. So coming down to the mat, taking a comfortable cross-legged position or kneeling, whatever you like. And we're going to return back to that centered breath work. So perhaps closing the eyes down again. Hands can rest in the lap or on the knees. Sit up nice and tall.
Again, deepening and broadening the breath. Lovely. Bringing your hands up over the heart center. Let's take a nice sighing out breath together. So inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Also, please remember that any of this kind of stuff takes time. Anything new takes time to grasp, and it might feel like really frustrating for you at the moment if it's not clicking into place or it feels really difficult. But that's part of the joy of the challenge of learning something new and improving yourself, bettering yourself. It's not an easy process. So keep going. You're doing really well. Okay, I'll see you next time. I would encourage you to go over this class a couple of times so that you can really start to grasp some of the tools that we looked at today. All right, thank you so much. See you soon.